What's up guys, Paul here from E-commerce Gold, and in this review video I'm going to be looking at Wix, which is the world's largest hosted website builder, and also the guys who make those really quite annoying YouTube adverts saying how easy it is to create a website or an online store. And it's those adverts that actually brought the Wix e-commerce setup to my attention and made them right for a review from me. So that's what this video is about. Now, as I said, Wix are the biggest website builder in the world, and it's estimated that they power over 3 million websites worldwide, which is incredible and puts them ahead of a lot of their competition and only behind the likes of WordPress when it comes to user numbers. But how good are they for actually building and using a website, and specifically e-commerce, which is going to be the focus of this video. So I'm going to be looking at mainly the Wix Stores app. Now, before I jump into my computer, I just want to say that I'm not going to be covering pricing in this review because it all depends on where you are in the world, and pricing does change slightly from location to location. So I'm not going to cover that because whenever I try and check Wix pricing out, it always brings it up in my currency, which is the UK pound, and it's very difficult for me to try and find like in US dollars or anywhere else because it automatically converts on my browser. So I'm going to completely avoid covering any kind of pricing. If you do want to check out pricing, just simply Google Wix pricing and it'll bring it up in your local currency or as close to your local currency as you can get. So with that out of the way, let's jump into my computer so we can get started. So as I'm not covering pricing like I usually start most of my videos with, I'm going to jump straight into the features of the Wix platform. Now, on the Wix website, it's quite difficult to actually find definitive information about their e-commerce setup because a lot of the Wix Stores app features are very much interlinked with the general features of the Wix website builder. So it is quite difficult to try and separate what is their core e-commerce features, but this is what I managed to find by doing lots of research on the Wix website, and that is that you can sell physical and digital products via the Wix platform, which is good because it gives a lot of variety to what you can sell. You can create discount coupons or discount codes which you can use for marketing campaigns, so for email campaigns or social media campaigns, things like that. You can create discount codes. You can also create promo videos for your products, and this is done by combining your product images into a very arty kind of promo video which you can then send out on social media or via email. It's a pretty cool tool, and it's something that's not really available with any other platform. But that's pretty much it when it comes to the basic e-commerce tools. There's not too much more you can actually do, but they are really quite good when it comes to marketing because you can manage email marketing campaigns directly from the Wix dashboard. Another thing you can do is you can directly show your products to your social media platforms, so your Facebook page, your Instagram account, things like that. Another thing you can do is you can sell direct via these two platforms that I just mentioned. You can sell direct by Facebook with the Facebook store, and you can sell direct via Instagram. So you can actually encourage your audience to buy from you without having to actually visit your website, which is a great way of increasing conversions, especially if you have a large social media following. So that's really quite good. Now, they also have pretty good reporting when it comes to e-commerce. You can see how many orders you've got, what your conversion rate is, what your overall revenue is. You can also see how your purchase funnel is working. So your landing page through to your checkout, through to the completed checkout. You can see where people are abandoning the checkout process. So you can work on it to try and increase your conversion rate. And you can also see which are your best email campaigns as well. And this is a great tool, once again, for seeing how you can improve on your marketing to try and increase your website's conversion rates. Now, one of the things that is a little bit with the Wix platform is the number of payment gateways you get. This very much ties into the fact that Wix is aimed at small e-commerce platforms and more like boutique online retailers rather than big fully fledged e-commerce websites, because the amount of payment gateways is very limited. In the majority of countries you will just have PayPal and Wix Payments, and Wix Payments allows you to take credit card payments, but generally there's not much else on there. There are some location specific ones. There's Alipay, which is popular in the Far East, and there's also Ideal as well, which is quite a popular payment gateway in parts of Europe. But for the US, the UK, Canada, places like that, you are quite restricted on the amount of payment gateways you get, which is a potential limiting factor as to how big you can grow your site and how successful it's going to be, because not being able to choose your payment gateways could end up costing you money in the long run, especially if you start getting large amounts of sales and you want to transfer to another payment gateway that's going to save you considerable amount of money in transaction fees. Talking of transaction fees, with Wix, you don't get charged any additional transaction fees by the platform. You just get charged the transaction fees by your payment gateway. So that's one good thing. So those are the basic features. That's what I could pull out, that's what I could find about the Wix platform. And say they don't really over promote the features of their platform that much, especially when you compare it to other e-commerce platforms who are very upfront and forward about the features that their platform offer. Wix, not so much. I'm a bit surprised by that one. The next thing I want to talk about before I actually jump into the Wix dashboard is I want to talk about the hosting and performance of the Wix platform, because this is something I like to test with every single platform I review. And once again, it was very difficult to find information on the Wix platform. Most e-commerce platforms, Shopify, EKM, BigCommerce, are very upfront and forward with the information on their hosting because they want to tell you how good their hosting is. Wix really weren't upfront about this. I had to do a lot of digging, even just to find this very basic information that they have 99.9% uptime, which is pretty much industry standard. You get unlimited bandwidth with every single package for the e-commerce packages, and you also get an SSL certificate with each package as well. But I did still test the platform out, because just because they don't tell me how good their hosting is doesn't mean I'm not going to go out and test it. Now what I do is I go to a website called Pingdom and use their speed tool. It's one of the best tools out there for checking the performance of websites. And I took 3 of the Wix Stores example sites from the Wix website and ran them through the Pingdom speed tool once a day for 3 days. So I got a good spread of information and see how well the sites performed. Unfortunately, it wasn't particularly good from Wix. They are considerably slower than the majority of their competition. The likes of, once again, Shopify, EKM are in the 1 to 2 second load time for their pages. Wix, as you can quite clearly see, is way off the pace, with ranging from 5.52 second average to 7.48 second average. That's a long time, and you can see this when you go onto the Wix website. So like the websites I used, you could see elements loading in on the page. So you come on and it would just produce the background, then you'd see an image come in, then you'd see a bit of content come in, then you'd see a button come in, and this just really isn't good, especially from a fully hosted platform like Wix. I did expect much better performance from them and just a much better experience. And the reason why this is really important is twofold really, because number one, it's a ranking factor for search engines. I know that Google puts a lot of emphasis on sites that perform really, really well, and Wix just doesn't do this. And the second thing is this impacts on your customers' user experience, because they're going to come to your site and they're going to be sitting there waiting for the site to load, and the majority of people, if it takes longer than 2 seconds, will click off your site. It's a known fact that when you start getting past the 2 second load time, you start losing a considerable amount of your visitors back to the search engine to go to somebody else's site. So this is a really big issue with the Wix platform, and I actually have gone back in and retested this just to see if there's some kind of abnormality, and no, it wasn't. This is unfortunately some issue with the Wix platform, that their sites just don't load that quickly. So that's covered the features and the performance and the web hosting of the Wix platform. Now it's time to actually go into the Wix dashboard and see what Wix is like to use. Now getting started with Wix is really, really simple. You just go to wix.com and click on the nice big button here, get started, and then it'll present this sign up page. So you just need to put your email in and a password and you're good to go. Now once you've completed this, you'll be asked if you want to go through the ADI, which is the Advanced Design Intelligence Setup Guide. And I would recommend anybody getting started with Wix actually go through this, because it does do a really good job of setting up a basic website for you, and it will automatically install, if you want it to, the Wix Stores app, because the e-commerce features don't come with the core Wix software. You have to install it in the form of an app, and if you go through the ADI setup, it will actually install it for you, which is really useful because it saves you having to do it yourself. So what is the dashboard like when you actually get into it? Well, this is what it looks like. It's very well laid out. It's a really easy to use dashboard. One thing that is really good with Wix, and I do like, is their setup guide. It's one of the most in-depth out of all the platforms I use. Most have between 4 and 6 options for getting started. as you can see, Wix have quite a few to sell lots of different elements in your site, and also teach you how to start marketing your site and using a lot of the features that the Wix platform has to offer. And this is one thing I really do like about the Wix platform, and I wish other platforms would adopt a similar system. Some of them are just way too light on their setup guides. Wix, you can tell, has been designed for people who have not used a website before or built a website, which is why they've gone such in depth in their setup guide. And as I said, I do really like this. But let's look at the e-commerce features of the website. So once you've got the Wix app installed, if you've gone through the Wix ADI setup, you will have these options here in your dashboard. If you haven't had the Wix Stores app installed, or you've got a Wix site and you haven't installed the app, I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. So let's see what it's like to actually use some of these e-commerce features. And what I'm going to start with is by looking at inventory and how you manage your inventory. So to get to this, you just go onto the Store Products tab and it will bring up all your existing products. These are all demo products. I haven't added these in. But adding a new product on Wix is really, really simple. Just click the nice big blue Add New Product button and it will ask you if you want it to be a digital product or a physical product. Now, there's only a slight difference between the two pages. When you go into a digital product, you'll have the option to upload your file, and then you can add the information such as the name, the price, the description, and any images and additional information. And also you can manage stock inventory on this. I don't know why you'd want to do that with digital products because you don't have an inventory of them. So I don't quite get that one. But that is how you add a digital product. When you go onto a physical product, you'll see it's very similar layout. It's just kind of changed a few of the sections order. So instead of having the big upload file at the top, it's add your product images and add any videos. So if you've got any kind of promo videos for your product, you can upload them straight into the product here. Then you just add your name, your price, and your description. Then there's an additional info section, and this adds another tab to your actual product listing, and this is great for adding additional info. So say if you've got a specialist returns policy for this or delivery policy, you can add this info directly into the product, which is really useful. This is also great if you've got custom products because you can set specific information for that product, because sometimes it might differ from your main like business policy such as your return policy, because custom products are dealt with slightly differently. And talking of custom products, you can actually add a custom text field. So if you sell personalized items, say you sell rings with engraving, you can add a custom text field here. This allows people to type in whatever personalized information they want on the product. So if you was having, like this example, a watch engraved, they can type in what they want engraved on the watch, and then that automatically comes through as part of the order. And that's a really useful thing when you're selling personalized products, because it just makes the process so much easier for you to manage. And then you've got product options. This is if you want to create variations. So if you've got different sizes, different colors, things like that, this is where you add them on the product page. That is the main difference between this and the digital products, because you will have variations on your physical products and you don't generally have those with digital products. And then at the bottom, you can set up your track inventory, which makes more sense on a physical product than it does on a digital product, because you actually have physical inventory. But that is how you create a product in Wix. It's really simple. Both the digital and physical products are really well laid out pages, and one of the things I do like is that you can promote them directly from the product page. So you can create a coupon specifically for that item. You can create a promo video, but you do need to add images to do that, and whatever images you upload, you can then create a promo video based off those images. You can send it directly in an email campaign. So if you've got a new range of something, or you've got a new product, a new part of a range, you can email it directly out to your customers. You can share the product via your social media platforms, and then you can edit the SEO settings, which is your title and your meta description. So that is pretty simple. It's a very short and concise page, but it does everything you need to do when it comes to adding a product. So once you've created your products and you've added your inventory, you want to get around to organizing your products into categories, or collections as they're called on Wix. So we'll navigate to the collections menu, and what this does is it shows any existing collections you've got, and by default you'll have all products. It just lumps everything in there. All your demo products will go in there straight away. But to add a new collection is really, really simple. Click the new collection button, type the name you want, your collection image. So if you've got an image for that collection, say it's a promo image or something like that, you can add it directly in there. And then you can add your products directly from this menu, so you don't have to go back in and edit the products and change which collection they're in. You can just do it directly from this page, which is really useful. Now, the one thing I don't like about the collections system on Wix is that you can only have top level collections, and what I mean by this is you can't have sub collections off them. So if you created one saying men's clothing, you couldn't have a sub collection under that of t-shirts, then one of jeans and things like that. You can't organize them in that way. You can only have your top collection. And while for some small businesses this isn't an issue, if you've got a large range of products, this can become quite a bit of an issue as you're building out your site, because you might start running into problems in the fact that it becomes difficult for people to navigate around your site, because you want to organize your products so people can move from one to another and quickly find the types of products that they're looking for. Sticking with the men's clothing example, if people want to see what kind of hoodies you've got that go with t-shirts, it's going to be very difficult for them to do that if you haven't got sub collections that they can easily navigate to. It means they're going to have to scroll through your products, and this can have an impact on your conversion rate and also your user experience. So this isn't a great thing on the Wix platform. Now, the next thing I usually look at this point is managing your orders. But unfortunately, as I'm only on the free Wix plan, I haven't actually got any orders, and I can't create any orders to show you how to do this. As you can see on the screen, I've got no way of doing this, which is really unfortunate, as I'd love to be able to show you how to do this, but unfortunately I can't. But what I can do is show you what it's like to customize the Wix platform, because Wix have one of the best tools in the industry. So to start editing your site, you simply click on Edit Site in the bottom, and what it will do is it will bring up the Wix ADI. This is the Artificial Design Intelligence. And this is one of the best tools I've come across for building a website, because you can go on and you can add sections to your website, and you can see the amount of sections you have to choose from. This makes customizing your Wix site really, really simple to do. And even somebody who's very novice to building websites could build a really good looking website in pretty much no time. I've had a good play around with this and I really like it. There's so many options out there, and there's also layout options for the sections. So if you went with a product slider, for example, there's all these different layouts you can go for. So not only do you have all these sections, you have layouts within these sections as well. So the amount of options is nearly endless with Wix. It's an absolutely fantastic tool. I really do like it, and it's one of the redeeming features of the Wix platform. But they do have a second editor as well. Most platforms have an average editor at best. Wix have got two. Now, the second one is the classic Wix editor, which you can access by clicking on this tab here. And it comes up, are you sure you want to switch? So you switch to the classic editor. Now, the one thing I will note at this time, it can take a while to go between one editor to the other, and this is something I've experienced with the Wix dashboard in general. Sometimes it can be quite almost laggy in terms of being able to move from one section to another. It's not as quick and sharp as some other platforms. I don't know whether this is to do with hosting, because as I showed you when I was looking at the performance, Wix doesn't perform that well, and I don't know whether this is tied into that. But the original editor is a bit more complicated to use, and this put a lot of people off, especially I know who used Wix, because it was a bit too complicated. There's almost too many things you can do in this editor, because you can make little changes, like you can drag things, and there's just too many small minor changes you can do in this, and you can end up spending a lot of time and not really achieving much in there. That's why I prefer the ADI editor, because it's just easier to use and you get much more overall control rather than making tiny little changes here. But if you tie the two in, you can really customize your site so it looks exactly how you want it to. Now, from this editor is one of the best ways to add apps to your website, because Wix works on an app system, because Wix Stores is an app, and to install apps, this is one of the best ways to do it. So you go into the original Wix editor, click on the add apps, and it will bring up the Wix app marketplace, and you get lots of different ones to choose from. I don't know exactly how many they are, because they don't do an overall all applications, but you can see the different kind of things that are available. And for some of them that have front-end impact on your site, so it will add menus and things like that, this is the best way to add it, because you can configure it straight away. Whereas if you install them using the app marketplace in the dashboard, you have to come into this editor to set them up anyway, so you might as well just do anything that's going to affect the front end of your site. You might as well just install them while you're in this editor and just do it all in one place in one go. It just makes life so much easier. So that is how you add apps. Just click on add and it will install it for you. Now the majority of these apps do have a free version or at least a free trial available, but if you want to get access to all the features then you are going to have to pay for it, and most of them do charge on a monthly plan, and this can make Wix become a little bit expensive if you have too many of these apps installed. So that is how the two editors work. The one is very much an overview editor, so you can add sections, change things. The original editor is very much for making minor tweaks, but in my opinion you don't want to spend too long in the original editor, because you can end up making lots of small changes that don't really make a big difference to your site, other than maybe slightly changing the aesthetics, but they don't actually improve how your site works overall. So those are the two editors. Going back into the Wix dashboard, I'll show you how you can access the apps in here. So you go to your sidebar, scroll down to the bottom, click on apps, and then you can search the app marketplace in here. And as you can see, it's very similar to the way it's laid out in the Wix editor, and you just go through, search for whatever you want. You can either scroll through manually, or you can search the apps here or here and you'll find the exact app you want. It's really simple to use, and there is a really large variety of apps. As you can see, there's things like Printify, Printful, which are print on demand services, but there's also things that can help improve how the Wix site works, such as Site Booster and other ones. There's lots in there, so there's way too many for me to go through in this review. But that is pretty much the Wix dashboard. It's very simple to use, it's very easy to navigate your way around. Nothing is particularly difficult to find in there. Now the next thing I want to talk about is the Wix support, because it's something they really do push in their adverts and promotional material, that you get really good support from the Wix platform. But when you start reading the reviews of the platform and people I've spoke to who have used Wix, they don't have the same opinion as what Wix do. And the one thing I found was it's actually quite difficult to find out how to contact the Wix support team, because you think, oh, go onto the help center, which brings up the help center, and pretty much you're just confronted by documentation. And whenever you search anything within the Wix Help Center, it will always bring up documentation. It doesn't show you easily how you can contact a member of the Wix support team. In fact, they've hidden it quite well, because to find it, you actually click the Show More button, scroll all the way down to the box, and there it is, hidden right at the bottom. I don't really like this. I think platforms like this should be upfront and center with how you can contact them. Majority of other platforms are, but Wix aren't. I don't like the fact they've tried to almost hide how you can contact them. It doesn't really portray kind of transparency to me, and this is a recurring theme I found through using Wix and testing Wix out. When it comes to finding information about the features, the hosting, nothing's overly clear with the Wix platform, and I'm not a big fan of this. I like companies to be upfront with me. I like them to tell me exactly what they do, how you can do things. It's just not that simple to do with Wix. I don't know why they're doing this, but to me, it's just not really a positive. So my conclusion of Wix, is it a good e-commerce platform? It could be. It has some pretty good features from what I could find. It's pretty easy to use. The ADI is a really, really useful tool for building a website. There's lots of great apps on there, but there's a few issues with the platform. The main one being that performance. It's just too much of a hurdle to try and get over for me to really recommend the platform, because it's going to have a big impact on your business. The second thing is the lack of payment gateways, which is just going to limit how much you can grow your business. And the third one is the lack of sub collections. This just makes it really difficult to create any kind of category hierarchy for your products, and that tied in with the payment gateways really does limit it to very small businesses. If you need a proper e-commerce solution, Wix definitely isn't the way to go. There are better options out there. Even if you are a small business looking for e-commerce, there's still better options out there in my opinion, because there's just too many issues with the Wix platform, the main one being that performance. And unfortunately, it wasn't just the ones I tested. I went through and tested a lot of other Wix Stores sites and I got the same kind of results. And for me, it's just too much of an issue. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned something from this video, especially about the Wix platform and what it's like to use. If you have, I'd really appreciate it if you'd smash that like button. Also, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Wix? What has been your experience? Is there anything in the review that I haven't covered? Or is there any questions you want to ask? If there is, drop them in the comments below and I will reply to them as soon as I can. And if I can answer your question, I will. Also, last request, honestly, if you do want to see more content like this, because I do lots of e-commerce reviews, comparisons, things like that, then hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you get first notification of when I post a new video. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video.